Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Mathletes podcast. I'm the guy who can't throw.
I'm the guy that can't catch.
My name's Matt.
My name's David.
Welcome to the show.
Now, this is a special show. Now, we have found out officially who is in the playoffs for the fantasy baseball.
Yes.
You and I have made it. Two others have joined us.
You've made it because you paid your league dues.
I paid my... I did. So, you put the fear in God in me last week, and you said to me, David, you may have the second best record, but there's a big but. You haven't paid your dues. And so what did I do? I freaked out. I went to the ATM machine. I found that money. I went to their league manager, and I paid those dues. Yes. So now I am in.
Yeah, with Sonny, you definitely gotta be like honorable in everything you do, because if you do anything that's kind of a little shady, even if it's not specified in the rules, she'll find a way to fuck you.
Yes, and also she would love for herself to be in that spot. She would be like, David, you're out, and I'm in, so fuck you.
Obviously, it wouldn't be her. It would be
I know
Kevin,
that,
Jason.
but I just think of it that way, that if I did not pay those dues, she would take my spot. She would say, David, I am the one who pitched in for you, and so I'm going to take over. And if you win, I win.
So let's get back to baseball now. So we have four playoff teams in our 10-team league, and two of them already were set to match up. That was David and Kelly, and we talked about that in our last podcast in depth. We'll touch on it again here. So if you want a more in-depth analysis, go back and look at that podcast.
Because the one thing we did last week is we went down and looked at every single potential playoff team. Now, the great thing, though, about this week is that there was three people going in for that fourth spot.
Yes, so I am the fourth seed. David and Kelly are the third seed. So David and Kelly are going to play off, and I'm going to play whoever came out of this dog pile that is the fourth playoff seed. So going into it, it's pretty simple, actually. I'm playing Blake, and if Blake wins, he's in no matter what. Kevin is playing Kelly. If Kevin wins and Blake loses, then he's in. And then Jason was the biggest launch shot. He was playing David. If he wins and everyone else loses, then he's in.
Now, I love this, though. The three people that are going against him, going for that fourth playoff spot, were all playing against playoff teams.
Yes, that was very interesting. So all the other, bottom feeder teams placed off against each other. So that was very interesting.
And I hate it, though. So, when the last game of the season and you are on this good old hot streak, it sometimes comes to a crashing halt. I am actually quite glad that happened this week. For me, I hit the pavement. I was down for the count this week. Even from day one, I knew that I was out.
So were you just not into this week, or were you somehow using this week as a bye to prepare for the next round?
I would not say that. So I built my team on pitching.
Okay.
I had one player, I think it was Shields or Zach Wheeler, go for 22 points.
Okay.
And I had another pitcher going that day. He hit 22 points. So, actually, no, he hit minus 22.
No, it was Price and Wheeler. Price got negative 20 and Wheeler got positive 20.
Yeah, and so they canceled each other out.
Yes.
And then King Felix comes up to bat, and what does he do for me? He gives me +1. And so I knew from that point on, I was like, not even if I try, I am done.
Yeah. For me, so David lost, so Jason had some life. And then Kevin went up against Kelly, and Kevin won. And so I could have had some pressure going into this week, because I only had 5 starts, and I knew Blake had 6. And I could have easily picked up a start previous week and just set myself up to match his 6 starts. But I didn't do that, because I wanted to try to get my maximum starts in the following round. And I was trying to set myself up for that following round, because I knew my spot was locked. And I felt like I could do that I could get another start for Jason and Kevin, but I felt like it's not really fair to play. Like, what I need to do is I need to play like it's a regular game. There's nothing on the line. Came down to just a few points. He took a big lead on me early, but I was able to come back late. I think I scared him a little bit, but ultimately I lost. And I kind of feel bad for for Jason and Kevin, but I feel very happy for Blake. Say what you want about how we're doing things, but the top 4 teams in points for
We're in the playoffs.
Yes, and I'm not sure if it's the exact standings as the points for, but it's pretty close. So ultimately, if you told us at our draft that the top 4 teams would be the teams with the highest points for, I think everyone would be happy with that.
Yes, and we this year is the first time where we actually had no divisions or just one single division.
Yeah.
So everyone was facing off against everybody. The record really counted. The points for really counted, and the people that deserved to get in got in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really good feeling to have.
Alrighty, let's preview my matchup with Blake. So I know Blake's team pretty well now because I've just played him, and actually I played Blake 3 times. I beat him the first 2 times. He beat me this last time. So let's kind of go position by position here. So my team is kind of hard to analyze position by the position because I like to kind of move a lot of players who have a lot of multi-eligible positions. I move them around. So we'll try our best to kind of go with the lineup that I had on Sunday. Okay, so let's go with the catchers. Start with Blake. Blake currently is starting Mike Zunino. He's a catcher from Seattle. He's got a lot of power, but he's very young and he doesn't have a really good batting average.
One thing about Seattle, though, is that they're playing over their potential. Right now, Robinson Cano came in this year, and he said to all the young guys, guys, just get behind me, and we're going to show you how to play real baseball. And I really see that Seattle, the young guys, have been feeding off of that, and they've been playing above their potential.
Apparently, Mike Zeno hasn't been playing above his potential because he has a 1.1 point average. Which
tell me, why is he starting him then?
I don't know. Blake, he drafted A.J. Przinsky, and he's never, it's almost like he doesn't care about catcher. He's like, these guys are scrubs. I don't care about catchers at all.
I can understand that to an extent, but a 1.0, who the fuck would want to have that on their team?
1.1.
Oh, 1.1. I'm sorry, Blake. I was undervaluing your catcher.
Yes. So, I don't think he even has another catcher on his roster. He doesn't. He just says Zunino. So, I guess he just kind of sees that almost like a kicker.
So, basically, right now, he has 2 days out of the whole entire week where there's a missing spot because usually the catcher doesn't play for the whole 7 days. He usually plays about 5 or 6.
Yeah, you have a day off, and then you also have that
1 day off.
Yeah, So my catchers, I actually have 2 of the better catchers. I don't have a set I'm always gonna play this one player at catcher. I play mostly Salvador Perez from the Royals. Pretty big on the Royals, and he's pretty good. He's a 2.0 average, 2.1 average. So he's 4th among catchers in points. He's been healthy all year. Nice thing I like about Perez is he actually plays catcher, but he almost always plays every single day. He's that good of a player.
And that's one thing that Kansas City, they're in the hunt for the playoffs.
Sure.
And so they need their top guys in there, and Perez is one of those people.
Sure. And also I have to, if Perez is ever sad, I can play Carlos Santana.
Oh, Santana.
He's really nice because he's got catcher, first base, third base, DH. So he started very, very slow this season, and I know people were like, why do you even have him on your roster? But he's turned it around, and he has a 2.3 point average now, 3rd among catchers. So he's pretty nice at, first, third, and DH. He's a good player to have to kind of fill these holes because I've been having to fill a lot of holes.
Yeah. Now, with you saying that he started out slow, which I know he did you ever get any offers for him, like some serious offers, and were they a lot of low blows?
Yes, I think you gave me some low blows, Dave.
Did I? I would never do such a thing.
You were like, do you want this guy just picked off the wire last week? I'm like, no, Dave, I don't want that guy.
Come on, man. He was just off the wire, and he just scored 20 points in that single week.
Yeah. No offense to you, Johnny, but I think that if you were in this situation and you had Santana, week 1, you would have dumped him. And I held on to him, and I think we can say that it's now starting to pay off in terms of waiting on these players.
Because with baseball, the one thing you have to realize is that, yes, they may start out slower, they may go in a big old slump, but baseball is all about playing every day, and potentially or eventually they will actually even out, and they will show you that they are superstars and why they are a superstar.
Sure. So let's go to first base.
First base. Oh, I love going to first base. Hopefully, this will get me home.
David just touched me. So Blake has Adrian Gonzalez, who I had last year. Adrian Gonzalez is a good first baseman. He isn't going to win you matchups, though. He's going to get you 2 or 3 points, and you're going to be happy with that.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. So normally I play at first base Miguel Cabrera, but Miguel Cabrera, these are 2-week matchups, and it says that he's going to probably be out 4 or 5 days, so he's going to be out about a third of the matchup, which is unfortunate, but I'm hoping that he'll get healthy and he'll come back and he'll play better. Right now I'm playing Santana at first. That's kind of where I plan to hopefully play Santana, and if I need to, I can try to put some guy on my bench in. Steve Pierce, we'll get to Jose Abreu, maybe move him in there. But yeah, I'm just going to try and hope he's healthy.
Yeah, and you're trying to work your team so you get the most points that you can.
Yeah. Mickey's been a little bit of a disappointment this year, but I think it's really because I think he was really, really good the last couple of years. So if he has any decline, then everyone's like, oh, he's having a bad year.
Oh, yeah. No. He was on the peak of Mount Everest. And the only way you can go up from there is, well, you have to go get to heaven. And I don't think he's going to get there anytime soon. So he eventually came down Mount Everest.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll get healthy going into next year. So because obviously I'm going to keep him. So let's go to second base. Second base, I think he played Baez, the Cubs second baseman. But I think that he's probably going to be playing Kipnis because Kipnis is probably the best second baseman. He also has Neil Walker. Yeah, They're all good options. They're no guys that really going to blow you away.
Yeah, the one thing I'm hoping for is that with him now being in the playoffs, he's going to start mixing and matching and trying to get his team the best that he can. Because it sounds like there is some holes though on his team, and hopefully he'll start to figure it out and beat you. Because I would rather play him than you.
Yes. So on my team, I have Robinson Cano, and I think that I definitely have the edge here with Cano.
Oh, Cano is the best second baseman that you can get.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to the catcher and the first base because we didn't say who has the edge in that. I'd say I definitely have the edge in catcher. First base, if Minky was healthy, I would say that I would have the edge. But I say since he's injured, I'm going to be filling it in with Carlos Santana and some other Steve Pierce. I'd say that it's a push, but if I was pushed to actually make a claim, I would say that Blake has the edge just because he knows Adrian Gonzalez is going to be there.
Yep.
Third base. So he has Kyle Seager from the Mariners. Does he have anyone else? Oh, he used to have Ryan Zimmerman, but he got injured and he dropped him. Mm-hmm. Seager, kind of the same thing. He's an okay option. He's not the best. I don't have a whole lot to say about him. He's an average player. He's a middle-of-the-road player.
And this is one thing about fantasy sports, especially in baseball. You don't have to have the top-tier players. You just have to go and learn when is the guy hot, when is he not, and putting in those players. Because, yes, there's so many games to be played. You have to play every single day and find out what's the best matchup. And I feel that this guy has actually done that to get to this point. Yeah.
So at third base, I have David Wright. And David Wright has been a huge disappointment this year. He's been injured. I think he's playing injured all year. And David Wright's the guy where, the Mets are out of it. And if I'm a Mets fan, I'm saying shut down David Wright. Just let him get healthy. But David Wright can't do that. David Wright hates being injured. He hates being on the DL. He wants to play. And that puts me in a tough spot as a fantasy owner because that means I can't DL him and I have to play him if he's sitting on my bench. And you know that he has the potential to really have a great couple of games. And I've kind of always been waiting for that day to get that game, but it really has never come.
Now with David Wright, he plays in New York. Not Yankees, but
no, Mets.
He plays in the Mets, but he plays in New York nonetheless.
Yes.
And the one thing about the sports writers in New York, they ream him. If they said David Wright, you could go on the injury, you go on the DL, or you can actually play. Do you think that he would have the fear of God in him, saying that these New Yorkers will destroy me if I go on the DL?
Absolutely not. I see David Wright is not at the level of Derek Jeter, but he is probably the most well-respected player on that Mets team. He is been Mr. Met, the most consistent, quality, solid Met player over the last, I'd say, decade. Mm-hmm. And he is very loyal to the team. He wants to play, and he's trying his damnedest to play. So I think that the writers, they're going to be critical like always, but I think that they're going to be a little easier on David Wright.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that any writer can actually be easy on their sports athletes.
Sure. So I think that I have to give him a little bit of a push in the third base.
Baseman.
Yeah, I obviously could play Santana. If Miggy comes back, when Miggy was healthy, I was playing Santana at third. I would still give him the push there with Seager. I think Seager's a little bit better than Santana right now. So at shortstop, he has Hanley Ramirez, which is Hanley Ramirez is one of those players where if he's healthy, he's awesome. But if he's injured
in any way,
yeah, you're in trouble because this guy has a long injury history.
Oh, man. And he's a Dodger.
He is a Dodger.
And we're Giants fans, and so we say if Hanley Ramirez goes down, fuck yeah.
Yeah. So I have Starling Castro, and I also play, who else do I play? Ben Zobrist at shortstop. So those are my two shortstops that kind of go in. And generally, when the lineup's healthy, I play Zobrist at shortstop.
And one thing I like about Castro is that in his rookie season, he hit the shit out of that ball. Mm-hmm. And last year when I had him, he kind of just tanked. But I can see under this new coach that he has that he's actually come around. He's becoming a little bit better than he was in I think it was his sophomore year. But I do think that you definitely do have a good shortstop on your hand.
Yeah, he hits them in the middle of a really good Cubs lineup. I think the Cubs are, in a few years, Starling Castro's probably going to be a top 3 shortstop.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And I love, Ben Zobrist. He's a very unsexy pick player, but he puts up points. And he's been very hot lately, and he's been a godsend because he isn't one of those other multi-eligible guys who's second, shortstop, left field, right field. So he just plays all over the place. And he plays every day, so if you got holes to fill, Ben Zobrist is your guy.
Mm-hmm. Because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, Ben Zobrist, his numbers are going down every single year. But the thing is, though, is that he is an average player, but a little bit above average, I would say. He's not going to blow you away, but he's definitely going to be there to help you out.
Sure. Okay, so what do you think on shortstop? I'm kind of undecided right at this point. What do you think? Who you taking between Hanley Ramirez and my kind of tangent?
I'm going to say that Hanley Ramirez, his potential is so high. I'm going to go with Blake on that one. I'm going to give the point to Blake. Woo!
I'm going to kind of stick with what I've been doing where I'm really worried about the injury. I said that if Miggy is healthy, I'd pick myself, but I picked Blake instead. So I'm going to pick with my team because I know Hanley is healthy right now, but 7 days in, this guy's going to get injured, guaranteed.
Oh, guaranteed.
It's like Tulo. He's going to get injured. It's not a matter if it's when.
Mm-hmm. All right, who's the next? I think we're going on to the outfield.
Outfield? So we're going to start with left field. He really doesn't have a starting left fielder.
He doesn't have a starting left fielder.
The guy that he has is, I'm gonna butcher his name. It's Youngvar Solarte. You're familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a guy who was on the Yankees. He got traded as part of the Chase Headley deal, and he went to the Padres.
At the beginning of the season, I actually picked him up on the wire. And he was definitely pretty good for me. I had him around for about 2 weeks, and then he went and somebody got healthy, and so he went back on the bench. And eventually he actually got sent back down to the minors. I do see that he does have potential. He definitely has an average where he can hit for a high average, but I don't know if the power is actually there. So I'm just surprised. Has San Diego been using him every single day?
Yeah, he's been an everyday player, but you have to consider he's at Petco Park half his games.
Yes, and like when it's nighttime and the air is cold, that's when the ball just doesn't go anywhere.
David, have you been to San Diego? It's not cold there.
Oh. Well, I hear that they have an ocean.
They do have an ocean.
But over here in California, the ocean is always cold. Are you telling me?
No. Have you been to a San Diego ocean beach?
I've been to a Mexico beach, and
okay, that's probably warmer because it's probably closer to the equator.
All I do is it smell like shit. But
Okay.
who am I to judge?
Well, that was Mexico. Anyways, left field, I have Alex Gordon, another Royal guy who's been really hot lately. And I like him because he's not really going to ever blow you away. He doesn't have his hot streaks, though. But he's one of the most consistent players in the game. He's a very unsexy pick. If you pick him in your draft, no one's going to be like, ooh, Alex Gordon. Everyone's going to be like, okay.
Yeah, because I was the one who actually drafted him. And I was happy with him. But then you came along. You're like, I'm gonna give you. I think it was the time where I gave you you gave me Canley Jensen. And,
No.
No?
I gave you, who was it? Beltran. I gave you Carlos Beltran.
Oh, did you?
You wanted DH badly.
Oh, yeah, because Carlos Beltran, I was assuming that he was going to be his old self once he gets back off the DL.
He's had his games, though.
Yeah, he's had his games. But once I give him to you, Gordon just goes off. And
Yeah.
he and the Kansas City Royals just got hot at the same time.
Yeah. I really acquired Gordon because I was really unsure about the long-term future, at least this season, of my other left fielder being Bryce Harper, the guy I kept. Bryce Harper, luckily, he's a luxury player I have where I don't need him because I already have a left fielder in Gordon. I sometimes throw him in my utility, and then whenever I just hope that he has like a really good game like he had today. He had 12 points, 2 home runs.
Nice.
I'm just hoping that that's a kind of a sign of things to come because I really want him to get hot because he's really been shitting all over my bed the last couple of months.
I don't think anybody can really trust Bryce Harper. I don't even think he can trust himself.
Yeah. The nice thing is like today, if you need I call it my Bam Bam lineup. If you're down by a lot in baseball, you need to just go for those home runs. So you put in something like Bryce Harper there, he might get you a few strikeouts, but you put him in there, you could potentially get a day like today where you get like 2 home runs.
Yep, so you actually put him in today?
Yep, look.
Oh, nice. Smart move.
Yep. So I'd say I definitely have the edge there in left field.
All right.
So, center field. Blake has 2 center fielders, and ironically, they're both injured. He has Carlos Gomez of the Brewers, and then Jacoby Ellsbury of the Yankees.
Well, Carlos Gomez, didn't he injure himself today during today's game?
I believe so.
Because I remember watching his swing, and it looks like he tweaked his back.
No, he's got his wrist. That's even worse.
His wrist. Ooh.
That's not good for a hitter.
No. Oh, man, I really thought it was his back that he tweaked, but oh. God, because his wrist is everything in baseball.
Jacoby Ellsbury has an ankle, and he pinch hit today, so he'll probably be fine.
I'm just hoping that Blake's actually going to be trying hard. Because the last thing I want is for you to have another time where you say, I have Kevin to play against. And he gave, in the first week, he was up by 100, and then he just gave up, just to go focus on football, and you just swept in for the win.
I think Blake will try hard because he knows that he's going to get a lot of shit if he doesn't try hard and win.
I know. And could you imagine, though, being your rookie season and winning the championship or dethroning the champion?
Yeah, that'd be pretty exciting for him. But, he's not a rookie player. He's played fantasy sports before.
Well, he's a rookie in our group.
Yeah.
He has a lot to prove.
So, and then I have Adam Jones. And Adam Jones, he hasn't had the best season, but he's had a very consistent season. He's a guy like Gordon, a guy I like, where you plug him in there and you don't have to worry about him. He's in the middle of a really good Orioles lineup, and he's getting about 2.5 points a game. Pretty good with that. Mm-hmm. And if you look at his career average, he's actually having a little bit better season than most.
Yeah.
But he's just a model of consistency, and it's a guy that I'm probably going to keep because he's just, you pick him and you know exactly what you're going to get.
Yep, and that's one thing I liked about him. Because when I first had him, you would watch him on defense. Beautiful defensive player. And then you see him on offense. He would have good days, but never excellent days. But then something just clicked. Right when you got him, it just clicked.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud that you actually have him, not like anybody else.
Yeah. So, in terms of picking, if both Blake's center fielders were healthy, I would hands down go with him just because he's got the depth there. And I think I'm still going to go with him because both the center fielders, I think, in terms of a point per game, are a little bit better than Jones. Mm-hmm. It looks like Jacoby Ellsbury is going to be okay, and he has that depth. So I think I have to go with Blake.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Alrighty, this is gonna be an easy one because this has been a nightmare position for me all year. Nelson Cruz, right field for.
Oh,
Blake.
he wins. He wins.
Yeah.
He wins.
We'll keep this short. Right field, I really don't have a starting right fielder. I have a lot on my roster. I've been playing Jay Bruce a little bit. Today I played Alex Rios, who I traded for, and he's been a big bust for me. I had Michael Godire, but he went on the DL. There's this Jorge Solar, who's on the Cubs, who I'm hoping might develop into, a streaky hitter during the playoffs for me. But really, what I'm probably going to do is have Ben Zobrist play in right field and then have Castro in shortstop. Because I think Castro is a more consistent player than any of these other right fielders that I have.
I think you're totally right.
But it really doesn't matter if I'm playing right field because he has Cruz, and he's going to win.
Oh, man. Do you remember last year what happened? That Sonny had Cruz, and she dropped him.
Well, yeah, he was on drugs.
Was he on drugs?
Yeah.
Like the marijuana kind?
No, he was doing crystal meth.
He was doing crystal meth?
Off the umpire's ass.
Ooh. Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Now, and you're telling me that Sonny saw this and she was like, no way can someone like that be on my team. And yeah, I know when someone says to me like, dude, that's not what Sonny sounds like. Well, when I hear her talk, that's the way I hear it. So anyways, so Sonny drops him. I get him. I loved him for when I had him. I was able to trade him for somebody. I think it was in one of those blockbuster trade where I tried to get Miggy. But he's definitely one of those people that definitely is on another world right now in Baltimore. So the point goes to Blake. I wish that we were actually keeping count on the points, but
yeah, I don't know. It really doesn't matter.
No.
So this is a really good kind of positional matchup in a really weak position for DH. Blake has Jose Bautista.
Okay, he wins.
Yeah, but it's not as close as you think. Jose Abreu, I have young rookie Cuban from the White Sox.
I thought you were about to say a Cuban from a white family.
No, White Sox. Jose Abreu has a 3.1 average, and Bautista has a 3.2. So a little bit of an edge to Bautista, and I think you still have to give him the edge just based on the experience. And he's hitting in a better lineup. I think the edge has to go to Blake here.
I think also Blake at the beginning of the season when we were doing our keepers, he inherited this team, and I think Bautista was on it. I really think that he was actually thinking about putting Bautista back onto the draft. I think he was actually not thinking about keeping him as a keeper. But I think he, at this point, is glad that he did.
Of course. So, I don't really care about utility because utility is kind of a cluster. If we have to talk about utility, he looks like he plays Jacoby Ellsbury every day. I think Ellsbury's better than anyone else I'm throwing out there, so I'll give that one to Blake.
And the great thing about utility is it's not a position. It's just, hey, who can I just throw in there just for the extra little bit of points I can get?
Exactly. Okay, so let's go to the starting pitchers. So he has Alex Cobb of the Tampa Bay Rays, just under a 15-point average.
Mm-hmm.
John Lester, who's on the Red Sox, got traded to the A's. He's got an 18.4 average. Sonny Gray, also on the A's. He's got a 15.3 average. Jordan Zimmerman, 15 exactly. Scott Kazmir, who has single-handedly tried to keep Blake out of the playoffs. So listen to this. Last week, Scott Kazmir fucked Blake.
He fucked Blake.
Blake could have clinched, but Kazmir fucked him. He got negative 16.
Whew.
He almost fucked it again this week by getting a negative 14, both against the Angels, surprisingly. So I almost beat him because of Kazmir. Last week, that is. So, yeah, I'm surprised that Blake hasn't dropped him already. Maybe he already has. I think you have to at this point.
Mm-hmm. Did he get that minus 14 today?
Yeah. It almost fucked him.
The one thing, though, is that you have to hope that the A's just go on a losing streak.
They're really ice cold right now.
I know. Their hitting's ice cold. Their pitching's ice cold. I think you have hit at the perfect time.
Hopefully.
And with his pitching, he put his eggs all in one basket. And I don't know if that's actually going to work out for him. Because the funny thing is, though, I did the opposite, though. I went and got the A's hitters, and they were doing so well, and then Cespedes goes away, and then they got ice cold, and now it seems like their pitching has also done that.
I think it's not just about Cespedes. I think that lineup really, if you look at the players that they had in this lineup that was hitting really well, there weren't a whole lot of stud players. A lot of them were overperforming. I think it's finally starting to catch up to them.
Like Brandon Moss. Okay, Brandon Moss throughout the years has been a below average player, but then all of a sudden for like 3 months, he was playing like a legend out there. Like he was playing like he was going to be an everyday player, because at the time he was not actually an everyday player. And then you had on there Josh Reddick going up and down, and then you had Bogut just going off, and now it just seems like everything for the A's is finally coming to them.
Mm-hmm. So let's go over my lineup. Starting lineup, that is, for pitchers rotation. Chris Sale, 21.3 average.
I really wish I kept him.
Tehran, 16.8. Hamels, 17.5. Jake Arrieta, 16.4. And Drew Smiley, who I just picked up recently, he's got 11.9. But really, you need to look at his numbers since he came over from Detroit, and you realize that he actually has been a really good player.
And he went to go play with Tampa Bay?
Yeah, he's playing for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is great at just grabbing players that no one wants and just turning them into studs.
They're like another version of the A's.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Because they're a low market team. They have to try to find ways to win. I think that I like my lineup a little bit more just because it's headed by Sale. And I think
the point
Casimir really brings him down.
Just everything with the Oakland Athletic just has me saying that his starting lineup is toxic right now. That they were overperforming and now they just came back down to earth.
Yeah, but David, we're talking starting pitchers.
No, I'm talking about his starting pitchers. He has so much in the bag of the A's.
This guy is coming from the guy who says all A's, where you have like 4 A's.
Hey, right now it's called Kelly's Bitch.
Oh, you're a fantasy mathlete now.
Oh, I'm a fantasy athlete?
Yeah.
Oh, we should get like matching tattoos and...
Hell no. Hell no.
Oh, come on. It could be like the knuckle ones where it'll have the writing and then you finish the sentence.
Absolutely not.
Oh, come on.
No.
Okay, I'll just go and cry in my little corner now.
So I thought this would be a little bit more of a landslide, but I think that I want to give myself the edge here. I don't like Cobb. I don't like Casimir. Zimmerman's consistently good. Lester's obviously really good. Not a huge fan of Sonny Gray. I like Tehran, Hamels, and Arrieta. I think he's very underrated. Mm-hmm. Smiley's a good banking wild card, I think.
Yep, I think that you do definitely have the upper edge on this matchup, and I'm hoping that he can actually come out as the victor. So in that little bit of hope I have for actually getting to the championship, I'd rather play against Blake than you because I'm afraid of you.
You don't want to play Chris Sale 3 times?
Oh, God. I could have had Chris Sale. I want to let everyone know I could have had Chris Sale.
Or David Price. But are you regretting taking David Price?
On the long run, I'm thinking about it, and Chris Sale is a younger pitcher. The world is his basket. I mean, he can have anything he wants at this point. I think that David Price, though, he's been at the league for so long, it's about time for him to start tankering off. Because that's one thing about pitchers. Pitchers are only good for so long. I mean, like the great pitchers that we have out there that are in the Hall of Fame, I mean, you just look at them, you're just like, wow, you had great years. But then there's people like Tim Lincecum who go and win 2 Cy Youngs, and then now you look at him, you're just like, he's a shell of what he used to be. And so I'm just afraid that David Price will actually become that in Detroit. Mm-hmm. Or possibly, as you told me, you're like, hey, David, did you hear where David Price is supposedly supposed to go at the end of the year? And I was like, no, where? And you're like, Colorado.
Yes, I tried to trick David into thinking he was going to Colorado.
I actually went after that night. I actually went down to my room and I checked. I was like, is Colorado really interested?
I made a really good pitch to David. I go, David, here's what the Rockies have told him. They said, we have shit starting pitching. We need you. We understand we need pitching to win. And I told David, I go, they have their checkbook ready and they say, we want to make you the highest paid pitcher in the history of the game. You tell us how many zeros to write on here, which obviously in fantasy doesn't mean shit. And if your player goes to a shitty ballpark like Colorado you're fucked.
Oh, I'm fucked. And I would never keep him as a keeper. And then I just thought, and you should have said, you could have had Sale.
Yeah. David just touched me again. Make that the third time that he's touched me during this podcast.
I'm sorry. After last night and dealing with our sticker bitch, I'm kind of in a touchy mood.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the bullpen. So I'll list off the bullpens, and we'll kind of go from there. He's Craig Kimbrell, Sergio Romo, Jonathan Papelbon, Jeremy Mejia, and I have Chapman, Koji Iwahara, Greg Holland, and Eric O'Flaherty.
Oh, the point goes to you. Now, the one thing I'm really...
Let's break this down. That's
what I was about to do.
Yeah.
But the one thing I don't like about his is that he kept Sergio Romo after he lost the job. I mean, when I watch Sergio Romo, I'm just seeing a guy that just doesn't know where his pitches are going. And has he been producing as a relief or setup guy?
The last 10 games, he hasn't allowed to run.
Oh, he hasn't? What about a hit? At all?
5 hits.
5 hits?
5 hits, 1 walk. So he's got a whip under 1.
Okay. So he's definitely coming back to, not to what he was, but he potentially could get the starting job if Casilla starts sucking.
This just in. Casilla has been sucking. It says that Romo will share closing duties with Casilla going forward. This is very significant. I think that it's very smart of Blake that he kept Romo this long because he could have dropped him.
Because at the point where Sergio Romo actually became the setup guy and lost his closer role, how many saves did he actually have up to that point?
23.
23. And, he was at the top of the saves leaders at that point, I believe. He was one of the top.
But that's when the Giants were hot, and then the Giants started to cool off.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully he's going to get his job back because that's the one thing that Blake needs. He needs some closers.
Yeah. So I think if you look at Chapman versus Kimbrell's a little bit better. I have Holland. He's my second best reliever. I don't think that Papelbon is as good as Holland. Holland's on a good team, and I think he's one of the top 5 closers in the game. Koji Iwahara, he's been shit lately.
Well, he's on a bad team.
He's on a bad team, and they said they're probably going to limit his work. So I think that
they're thinking about next year already.
Yeah, if you compare him to Henry Mejia, I think Koji's a little bit better just because of the track record.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if you look at Romo versus Eric O'Flaherty, keep in mind that I also have, what's his name? Sean Doolittle on my DL. So Sean Doolittle comes back. Hopefully he'll be given the job right away.
Yep.
Can do that. And the A's have sucked. And that's what really hurt me in this last matchup is my closers weren't getting a lot of relief. They weren't getting a whole lot of save ops, which I was kind of happy with because then that means that they're
prime and ready to go.
Yeah.
Get back to work.
I think that given that I have complete control over the situation in Oakland and he has half the control in San Francisco, he'll get the push to me. So I think honestly I have a better bullpen than him.
Mm-hmm.
In that regard.
I would totally get that. And it's funny though, seeing that Kimbrell and Chapman, and you're like, Kimbrell's better. And I'm like, but Chapman could throw over 100 miles an hour. I mean, the power that is in his arm is just out of this world. He could take a ball to the face, and he could come back and just light up the glove. Oh, God, I love that guy.
Yeah, that's a good point about Chapman getting... I drafted him before that injury. And
he was your first pick in that draft.
And a keeper, yeah. Oh, man, that was a scary injury.
Yep, it was just...
And I'm blown away at how well he's done since he came back. He came back like it never happened. No,
he had to have his head split open.
Stapled shut.
No, but they had to split it open to let the drainage out.
Yeah, the swelling.
God, oh, man. He is one... I was about to say one sexy son of a bitch. But This is a family podcast, and I got to think about my Lord, baby Jesus.
Okay, so 2-week matchup. I think we're going to get 14 pitchers each. Hopefully, I'll max that out. I think I only have Sale twice. Hopefully, I'll have him 3 times. I really want 3 times. If not, then at least I'll get him in the third place game or the first place game. Who you got?
Oh, I am going to go with the one, the only, King Matthias.
Really? I thought you were going to go with Blake.
No, I'm going to go with you, stupid.
Yeah. I think if this was a 1 week matchup like last week, I think I might give Blake the edge.
Well,
but I think that if you consider it's a 2 week matchup, given that I'm going to have all my pitchers going, and I feel like the nice thing about a 2 week matchup is the better team is generally going to win. And I think that I haven't been playing great so far, like the last few weeks, but over the course of the year, I was the best team. I think that that's going to show, at least in this first round. The second round might be another story, but I think this first round, I won't handily do it. It will be close. I think it will come down the last few days.
And the one thing you told me about like a playoff is 2 weeks. And usually the best team is going to show up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And like with only a week-long matchup for the regular season, I mean, any team could beat any team any day.
Yeah.
Because we had a player like one of our team members who kind of went off the wayside and went and just started doing her own thing, started forgetting about her team, and she won a couple games that way. I mean, she didn't have to do anything. But with it being a 2 week matchup, you have to come, and usually the best team will always win. And also, I did not like the holes that we were talking about in his batting lineup. That those actually just had me just questioning. Like, you have a catcher that has a 1.1 average.
Sure.
Who the fuck would want that on their team?
Yeah. What's your X factor? Who's the X factor player in your matchup?
Oh, no, in this matchup?
My matchup.
In this matchup, I think the X factor is Zobrist.
Zobrist?
I think with what you were saying about how you're going to be utilizing him, he's going to be the one that's going to say, if someone goes down or someone has a day off, because now that it's playoffs time, the teams that are out of it are going to start to sit their players, get them healthy for next season. Say, let's bring up some of the younger guys. And with Ben Zobrist, you know he can play out all these different spots. He's probably going to go and help you out so much.
Yeah. My X factor is Miggy, and I think that guy's still the best hitter in the league, and I think having him a full matchup would be awesome. If I get him at least a week's worth of games, I think that's going to be huge for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's also kind of a psychological thing for Blake. You don't want to give him kind of any hope.
No.
And I think when you see someone like Miggy or struggling against you, you almost are like covering your eyes like, oh, no. So I think that's the big X factor for me.
Mm-hmm. And also, I do love how you guys play against each other 3 times this year. He won twice, or you won twice, he's won once. Mm-hmm. And so you guys know each other. You guys have played against each other.
Yep.
And I think that this matchup is just going to prove who is the better team. And I'm hoping that somebody named Blake will come out on top and be the underdog so I could play him in the championship round.
Well, according to Sunny, she thinks I'm going to lose. She thinks that my team is playing so bad.
I think with anytime we say according to Sunny, we need to have like the little do. According to Sunny, we have...
Yes.
It's like the news
this
report.
This just in. Sunny said this.
Like Sunny is our mother hen, and so we have to tell them what our mother would like.
Yeah, but you know what? If they want to believe that I'm going to lose, that's fine. I'm okay with it. I want to be the underdog.
Who in the fuck can say that you're an underdog? Apparently you have the most points in the league. You have the best record in the league. You have the best lineup in the league. You have one of the best pitching in the league. Who the fuck can say that you are the underdog? Wow.
I'm a lion, hear me roar. Anyways, I think that, my team is really kind of cooled off lately. I'm really worried about Miggy. I'm worried about some other injuries. I'm worried about third base, now first base, and right field. Those are the things that really worrying me, keeping me up at night.
Yeah, and also as you said, I've been having right field problems the whole entire year.
Yep.
So I think if you're the best team in the major, or best team in our league right now, I say that you've done a pretty damn good job with your team. And if right field's your only problem, well, God bless you, man. That's pretty good because a lot of our other teams have a lot more problems than you do. And a bitch ain't one. Hit me.
Yeah, I also think that a big thing is, what I always say is, who's going to get the saves? huge part of the matchup. And I think that's why I lost this matchup this week with Blake is I didn't get a whole lot of saves. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm complaining about it. I'm just saying that's what happens a lot of times with these matchups. That's what it comes down to. Is who gets those saves. Because it's huge. Because your starting pitchers can be lackluster, or you can have a guy who comes in from the bullpen and gets you 11 points. That's huge.
Oh, I know.
If they all go, that's 40 points.
And the great thing about a relief pitcher is that you never know when they are going to go. They can have a week long, especially with a closer where their team just sucks, or they just blow out the competition. They just don't go in. And so when you do have those closers, they can just be the X factor to get in that win that week. And I would actually be interested to see, and throughout this whole entire year, when a person won, did they have the highest in their relief pitching compared to their opponent? That would actually be an interesting thing to look into.
Probably an easier way to do that was look at who had the best bullpens. I think Blake, you, me. So a lot of the playoffs teams have good bullpens.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very consistent thing. Is who has good bullpens.
Oh God, I still remember last year. Didn't have any pitching, didn't have any closers. Because I came in, last year was my rookie year for baseball, and I come in and I'm like, well, why would I want a closer? I mean, you never know when they're going to come in. Why don't I just go get the guy that Bruce Bochy always calls in just to come in, just like in the middle of the sixth inning, who usually gets a lot more work than a closer, but nope. This fantasy is all about points. It's not about...
So wait, David, why was that not a good strategy for people who might be new to baseball?
Well, because when you look down upon it, the relief pitcher only gets around an inning of work, and usually a relief pitcher that's not a closer does not get the extra 5 points.
Because of what?
Because they don't get the save.
Yep.
So this year was the first year where I was just like, hey, guys, we need to have more power towards our setup guys, to our guys that get the hold. Because they were getting shit. There was no value in them. So this year we actually changed it up, and I felt like that has actually changed up quite a bit. Because I was able to go and trade a couple of my closers and get the relief setup guys in there, and I didn't feel like I was being hurt as much as I could have been.
Yeah, another big change in addition to that was we eliminated the wins and losses, and we made it so that if you get a quality start, you just get 3 extra points. The wins and losses, whereas if you won, you got 5 points. The pitcher's going to win. You have 5 points, or the pitcher loses, you get negative 5 points.
I think that's like a standard league, right? I guess.
No, it's actually a lot of leagues have the
quality starts?
wins and losses.
Oh, okay.
But what I saw with this rule is I looked at all the positions. I go, okay, the relievers kind of are on the same point because they can't get the loss, they can't get the win. The starting pitchers are kind of on the same point because they get the loss, can get the win. They actually get a little more value because they get the quality start. But I'm like, closers, they never get the win. And I'm thinking, you eliminate that loss so closer can get blown up and you don't have like that negative 15. I'm like, sign me up for that shit.
It was amazing, though, to look at it. And right when we did that, the computer automatically went and did its math. And you saw how much more power a pitcher had with not getting that -5, but only a +3 or nothing. Mm-hmm. And so the potential was just there. We're just like, sign me up. And so what did I do this year? I went and I got so much pitching. And I think that in my defense, it's actually worked out quite well for me.
How does it feel that you are actually in the playoffs, Dave?
This is actually, and I think I've been playing fantasy sports for 4 years now.
Really, that long?
I've played, because our league is three seasons long, right?
I guess so.
I think it is.
This is our 4th year in football. I've only been in football for 3 years.
Yeah, well, there was 1 year before that where Kevin was like, hey, man, we need an extra player. You want to come play? And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I barely touched my team. But Kevin kind of took me under my wing and didn't try to trade rate me at that point. And he actually gave me some good advice, and I think I did make it because a lot of the players in that league, because there were a lot of them, were Johnny's friends. They stopped playing, so I actually got in. But so I technically consider that this is my first year of making the playoffs, and it feels so fucking good. Because I told you, the only thing I want from this year is to get into the playoffs, and then whatever happens from then is just gold. I mean, I can lose. I could be in the 4th place the whole entire thing. I could just lose last month. I don't give a fuck. I made the playoffs. And if I get the chance to just get my money back in my deposit, it almost feels like a deposit. When I gave Sonny that money, I was like, hey, here's a deposit for me to get in the playoffs.
Well, you know that there's a chance you leave with nothing, right?
Yeah, you get the 4th place, right?
Yeah.
So if I lose, you better win. So I play against Blake. And if I win, you better lose. So I play against Blake.
Okay. So do you want the champion's advice on how to win the playoffs?
I do want the champion's advice. What is the champion's advice?
I think one of the biggest things you need to understand is it's a 2-week matchup. You know it's a 2-week matchup, but you need to understand how it works. We've done 2-week matchups before, but I don't think it was a full week. It was like a 10-day matchup with like the start of the season. And
it was the All-Star break.
Yeah. You can get behind 150 points. Middle of the first week. You're still in it. Like, I was down 100 to Kevin, and I knew I was still in it because there was still a whole week. Consider that, if you're at midway, let's say you're down by almost any number of points. If they were able to get that many points on you in that amount of time, you can potentially do the same to them. You have the capability of doing that. So really, no matter what situation, whether you're leading or you're ahead, you need to understand that it's a long matchup. And you can't just like, oh, okay, I got it. You have to understand that you got to fight to the finish.
And that's what I want to do.
Yes.
This is just going to be a learning experience for me. I'm going to take everything I learned, apply it to fantasy football, and hopefully get in the playoffs there also.
Okay, second rule. Got more rules for you.
Oh, you got more rules?
You need to expect and anticipate that people are not going to play in your lineup. And you need to, at all costs, make sure that you have players who are hitting. There's no need to hold on to your depth. There's no need to hurry on to like close Belcher because you're worried that someone might take him. Fuck that. You need to win now.
So go and get those young guys like Chicago's Baez.
No. Well, that's not
who's red hot right now, and just
get bodies in your lineup. Mm-hmm. This is September baseball. People are going to be set a lot more. You need to have healthy bodies in your lineup.
Okay.
Thought there was another one. Get a fucking phone so you can keep the healthy bodies in your lineup. You are going to be at work. It doesn't have to be multiple times over your matchup. And Kelly's going to be like, yes. And what's going to happen is your team is going to suffer because of it. Because there's going to be someone who last second is going to get benched, and then you're going to be playing them. And you're going to get a big 0.
I don't want a 0. So you're telling me the only way I can win against Kelly...
I'm not saying the only way. I'm just saying
one of the ways.
You're at a disadvantage. You need to understand that you're at a disadvantage. And you right now I'd ask yourself, are you okay with losing because you don't have a smartphone?
I am not okay with that.
Okay, well then what's your solution?
My solution is that I go get a phone.
Sounds like a plan.
I am such a person that's like, I am afraid to spend money, even though I go and buy $150 mic.
David, think about it this way. You're likely you can get like more likely than not, you're gonna get at least $50. You have like, let's say that all teams are equal. You have a 3 and 4 shot to get some money. You have a 1 and 4 shot, as do I, to get nothing. So you're likely gonna get $50. And if you're gonna average that out, you're probably gonna be getting, over $100.
Yeah. And then, all right. So how about this? If I win the championship, and I don't have a phone by then, I'll buy myself a phone. I can already hear it right now. Sonny and Kelly are like, yeah!
No, bullshit. Listeners, no. David always says he's going to get a new phone.
They don't know that.
There's always an issue. I'm telling them now. You always say, oh, I'm going to get a phone. I'm going to get a phone on 4th of July. And I'm like, bullshit. The only way I'll believe it is if I get a text message or I get a call or I see David on it. I need to see it. I can't believe your word, Dave.
Do you know what would be awesome?
Everything is awesome. Everything Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome when you live in our dreams.
So, the thing that will be awesome about this whole...
Did you just say awesome?
would be when I actually do get that phone. And one thing I maybe I'll do is I won't tell you. And then I'll go for weeks and weeks, and I'll actually be updating my team and whatnot. But you won't know.
That would be very smart.
And then
No. I can figure it out. Here's how I know. Because let's say we're playing each other. I'll look at your lineup and go, yes, fuck yeah, David's at work. He can't modify his lineup, and all of a sudden I'll see your lineup change. I'm like, he's doing something. My first thought actually would be, he's somehow stealing one of his residents' laptops and changing his lineup that way.
I would never do such a thing. No computer work at work.
You'd be like, hey, do that. I can imagine that going into my work, just saying, being a software developer, no computer work today.
Well, my line of work, that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
So
do you have any other last thoughts? We're approaching an hour, and I did everything I wanted to talk about.
And I was actually hoping that maybe with just these slow days where we just talk about certain teams, just keep it under an hour.
Sure.
But on the fantasy football, we're actually talking about different.
Yeah.
We'll actually do about 2 hours, possibly, if we actually have that much content.
So we didn't get to this, but I want to quickly get your thoughts. Rapid fire. What's your thoughts going into Kelly's matchup?
I think that if I get Tanaka back, that's going to be one
What's the status on him?
Huh?
What's the status on him?
That he's supposed to come back this month on September 1st.
So he's your X factor.
Yes, he's my X factor.
Sure.
If he comes back and I go and I say, Zach Wheeler, I'll see you later, my pitching lineup has a potential just to do bonkers in the points.
Tanaka's not going to be the Tanaka of all week.
He'll
be good, but he's not.
I hope. I just hope. I pray for that same old Tanaka. Now I do know that he most likely will have surgery on his shoulder, and he'll probably be out for a whole entire year because that's how bad it actually could become. Actually, it's his elbow that's bothering him, and I'm just hoping for some old Tanaka because I know he has bigger upside, even if he's not 100% healthy, than a 100% healthy Zach Wheeler.
Yeah. I think you have a shot, but I think that Kelly has the edge. Oh, just because she's a little bit more of a deeper team.
The only thing that I'm hoping for is that with how bad she did this week, where she got the loss, that this is the
wait. Time on that. She scored over 300 points. Neither of us did that. I'm just letting you know that right now. That's not very bad.
Can I live in my own little bubble before you start popping it,
David? This is gonna be the first segment of reality slap. I just slapped the shit out of David because he is so far off the tracks. I need to slap him in the face to bring him back to reality.
Hey, where was I? Like, where
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're home now.
Okay. And so I'm just hoping that Kelly and I have a good matchup, and whoever wins, and if I do win, she doesn't kill me.
I just hope whoever wins loses to me in the next round.
Okay. We'll say that, and hopefully it's Kelly.
So, till next time, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and
and rate. And remember, people, I do have another channel on here where I review movies and talk about movie news, and I'll have a link to it down below. So make sure to go and hit the subscribe button.
You really don't have to. Just like this podcast. That's all we ask.
Where am I again?
Rally slap. I think that'll just about do it. Until next time, I'm the guy who can't throw.
I'm the guy who can't catch.
We'll see you some other time.
See ya.